Hello! I just realized as soon as I hit over to the scene that my face was missing. So let's fix that. There we go. Hello! How is everybody? I gotta mess with my mic real quick. There we go. Oh! Couldn't find my pen. What is that? This is a good game. Have a stroke there? I feel a little tired, but that's normal. And I've done a fair bit today. I worked on the thumbnails for this stream and for tomorrow's stream, because I was leaving it up for people to decide if we're going to continue with Fallout New Vegas or if we'll switch to something else. But nobody responded, so I've decided to just make the decision. We're going to keep playing New Vegas because I'm highly entertained by the build that we're doing. So look forward to that tomorrow. I am also... I'm considering... I'm not sure if I'm going to do it yet, but I'm considering adding 1, maybe 2 more stream days during the week. Mainly just want to see how that will go. I've been trying to do some research on stream times and stuff, and seems like 7 o'clock might still work during the week, which I guess makes sense because, you know, most people are off work by then and all that. So, I'm all gassy. So, yeah, so I'm trying to decide what days I might do. Not exactly sure which ones I should do. Mainly because, like, there's no great day for me to do it where I'm guaranteed not to be dead tired, because throughout the week I do a lot of work. For someone who has no job, I work a lot. And I don't get paid. I barely get paid. So what's with this? Like, I wake up in the morning. I was gonna do Kesha lyrics, but they did not age well for this day and age. But anyway, so I wake up in the morning and I spend about a half hour trying to wake up. And then I spend an hour writing. And then I go straight over and work on the book business from 10 till at the earliest 2. And then, or to 4, depending. And depending on the day, I might have to go run around and do stuff until like 4 or 6. And then I get home and shower, and then I try to chill for a bit. But then I just go and work on writing or art and stuff until I can't. So, and that tends to go until like 8 or 9. So, trying to figure out a good time. And I'm pretty sure after saying, stop yelling at me. After saying all that, pretty sure I've said this multiple times. It's starting to sound like a broken record. I need to work on that. But yeah, with all that considered, I need to figure out like what day would actually work out to where during the week to where I can actually just do a stream. It might just be it might be 2 streams, like 2 days, and we'll just like add one of each of the category. So one art, one game. I don't know. That's another thing I need to do. I'm kind of leaning on just adding on to Monday and Friday. So we'll do a game stream on Friday, art stream on Saturday, game stream on Sunday, art stream on Monday. All starting at the same time. We're going to do all 3 days all at once. We're going to time travel. So, yeah, let me know what you think. For those in chat, let me know now. That'd be great. For anybody who watches this later, put it in the comments. Even if this is like 70 years after this goes live, go ahead and do that. I might still be around. I'll be over 100, but you never know. I could still be trying to figure out the grind at that point. If I do live that long, likelihood of that being the case, yeah. How things have been going. But you don't know me. You don't know my life. I haven't talked to enough people about that. I think Monday and Friday I could catch them on those days. Okay. Well, that's one vote. So far, we have a winning vote going. But yeah. So, other than that, what's happened this week for you guys? I haven't really had much happen. Like I said, all I do is work. So, it's not like I have an exciting life. Like, the most exciting thing that's happened to me, like, today, was I went to Golden Corral. That's it. I mean, I cleaned the house. Like I said, I'd worked on some thumbnails. And then I did some social media work, which I don't think I am even doing that correctly. I'm just doing it the way I understand it. Post stuff, see what happens. And then I worked on cleaning my house, which for me is kind of a big deal. Because I'm a sad man. But that's not entirely the point. It's mostly the point, but that's not entirely. So, did some cleaning and everything. I have started decorating my office. You met Tom Fulp? What? That was the highlight of my week. He liked the art I gave him. Made me so happy. Oh my god, that's awesome. He seems like a cool guy to meet. It'd be cool to meet him. I mean, I've already met my idol of my life. Joel Hodgins. He is the creator of Mystery Science Theater 3000. I met him at PopCon, Indie PopCon, like almost a decade ago now, and like I got to shake his hand and everything. It's extremely exciting. I saw him at somebody's booth that he was like friends with or something, that he was doing a collab type thing at the con for, and like the entire time I'm thinking to myself, don't be weird, don't say weird things, don't act weird. And then I saw him and I made a beeline towards him, and I just went up to him and was like, Joel, can I shake your hand? So I failed that immediately. But yeah, and I got to tell him about how my family was introduced to the show back in the 90s when we were missionaries in South America, and how it played a huge role in my family's sense of humor and our culture, essentially. But yeah, so that was pretty fun. I've been trying to finish some art for a contest on pixel art. I also have like 3 other things I have to make for my own contest winners. Yeah, I made a post about it on Pixel Art where I had an idea of some rewards for when I finally get around to doing a contest, because I've been really wanting to do a contest, especially like ever since I hit 200 followers on there. I've been really meaning to do a contest, but I couldn't really think of like a good way, because I already know what the subject would be. There's hints in the stream of what the subject would be, but they're very subtle, so I don't know if you guys would catch on to it. But they are in the stream of what the subject matter would be for the contest. But I don't know if you guys are ever gonna figure it out. But that's for me to know. But yeah, I made a post about it and kind of got a response. Not really. But yeah. Let's see. With Tom Fulp, he is a cool guy. He let me into the Newgrounds office. He gave me a Tank Man figure. And... oh, and you talked to Ivan Almighty. Oh, okay, cool. I need to be reminded who Ivan is. I'm sure I'm aware of their works, but I'm terrible at putting the person's name with it. But yeah, so like I was thinking for like the rewards for the contest, I didn't want to do it this particular way, where it's like, oh, I'll just draw your characters. Like, everybody does that, and I'm just like, I don't want to be like everybody else. I don't play by your daddy's rules. So then I was like, well, what if I do it a slightly different way, where, like, third place I'll do a sketch of like the person's OC or their persona or something. You know, third place, commendable, but it's third place. Second place, like, well, what if I did an ink, but I had it like as if their character or persona is within the Major Phee universe. So, I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm working on universe building, so we would just have to figure that out. And then first place would get us like a flat drawing, and they would also get like lore that would be within the universe and might become actual canon, like in the stories and stuff. Which I thought would be like a more interesting way to go about that, but I'm not entirely certain. But we will have to experiment with that. Ivan is an artist that also worked at the office. He voices Darnell in Friday Night Funkin'. Okay. Well, that's cool. Man, I wish I was an artist and I could do cool things. Blur. One of my favorite things to say around, especially like clients who I've done lots of works for, and I'm just like, man, I wish I could draw, and they're like, motherfucker. I'm like, what? What? Like every single time they have the exact same response, and it's hilarious. It tickles me so. But yeah, what are we doing? I don't know. I just don't know. Do I have a description? Yeah, do I? Do I have a thumbnail? Technically. That still don't mean I know what's going on. I need to get my room finished clean and get my office more decorated so then I can show off pictures of it. I can't draw. At least that's what my mind tells me. Fortunately, mine's gone, so I don't have to listen to his bullshit. Asshole didn't even pay rent. I'm glad he's gone. Okay. So we've been chatting for 15 minutes. See, I'm trying to keep a habit of like starting the streams with chatting, partially, so that it gives time for people to roll in, because I can actually say that now, which is a weird taste in my mouth. But yeah, so like can do that. Also, you know, I think it's supposed to be a good thing to do at the beginning of your streams, especially if they are saved as VODs. Unfortunately, I have like 10 to 15 minutes of just a starting screen, which I need to work on. Oh, God. So many things to do. Oh, man. It sucks. Everything sucks. I'm surrounded by vacuums. But I think drawing will help my sculpting. It can. It certainly can, and vice versa. So drawing, like, to get the idea out so that you can sculpt it's definitely a thing, and the better that you are at getting it out on paper would make it a lot easier for when you're sculpting, unless you just enjoy kind of the sculpting process in the same way I kind of do my drawing process, which is, let's see what happens. Yeah. Oh my god, Kick is just nothing but spam bots and scam bots. At least the chat. So that's fun. Oh man. Buy viewers, buy subscribers, buy this, buy that. Why? I don't think you understand. I'm poor and broke. So unless it's a penny per viewer, I can't do it. I can, but I don't want to believe that that kind of stuff still works, of buying viewers and all that crap. Like, how so the likelihood of a person to become big and famous from streaming is probably, let's just say, like 0.05%. The likelihood of you getting to that point because you bought viewers now puts that number at a 0.03%. Like, it literally does not improve anything for you. It might make it to where, like, you catch some fish, but those fish will get out of the boat because they'll be like, God damn, this person sucks. They're boring. That's why they had to buy the views. Don't know why I didn't buy views then. Let's just move on. So, here we are. I have been working on this a little bit. And, yeah, I'm enjoying how this is turning out so far. I had to redraw Phee twice, because for some reason was not coming along correctly. but I'm liking how it's looking. I need to freshen up on clothing folds because I feel like I'm doing these wrong, because I probably am. But that's for later. Right now, we should probably finish at least this sketch with the hand, and then I need to draw in the environment, which I need to pull up my reference here, which is not going to be difficult since there's hardly anything background-wise going on, which is nice. Thank you, Michael, for that. I appreciate that. Makes my life a lot easier. So yeah. Let's just go ahead and get started. And once again, music is provided by Panda Beats. I try to do a little bit of researching to make sure that they actually have, like, their music's not AI generated. And I guess it's more of they find artists and do that. At least that's what some of the descriptions said, or that's what it made it seem like. I don't know. It was very confusing, and I'm not a clever man, so I get confused very easily. But I do like the music a lot. So hopefully that means that it's people's music. So I am curious, because if you're like me, and I know I am, I like this spoof on... I'm not sorry. This is called... I actually had to look it up too, because I couldn't remember the name of it. But the original is called The Creation of Adam. And so that's why this is called The Execution of God. Because if we're going to be blasphemous, we might as well just go all the way. But yeah, this, I mean, it's kind of stems from a series that I've started, and I've only done 2 pieces for it. And I really want to do some more, but I have a problem right now, and I can't get away from the problem. So we got to deal with the problem until it's no longer a problem. But where is it? I started a series called Classic Nightmares, where I take famous paintings and I turn them into horrifying nightmares. And so then I've done, like, this one. The original is called The Girl with Pearl Earring, or Pearl Earrings, or whatever. And I called this the Girl with the Pearls. I really like how this turned out. I tried to do a mixture of trying to make it as similar, like, painting style as the original, while also doing, like, my own thing. And I'm pretty proud of how I eyeballed all this. And what the fuck, cat? Knocking over shit like a cat does. God. And then I also have done this. So, Scream by Munch. I think it's Munch. Edvard Munch. I think that's it. This one I did more of a just more of my twist in style instead of recreating it with horror elements. I did do a little bit of it because I was also experimenting with what I now have as the dry ink brush. I like how this turned out a lot. This one has more of a message in it, but I don't really expect people to get it. But yeah, I liked how this one turned out. It was very fun to experiment with. But yeah, so that's kind of what inspired this, is that I've done stuff like that and I enjoy doing stuff like that. You made Scream more horrifying. Well, I don't think Scream was ever meant to be an actual scary piece, because it was more of an existential cry than anything, because it was about the fears that Edvard had about, I think it was the encroaching industry into nature and the placement of man within nature, something along those lines. Where what I did is I made it more of a personal piece, like down to an individual type of thing. But yeah, apparently Edvard has remade that piece several times, even in crayon, which I find amusing. But yeah, funny you brought up your missionary past, which is cool. I wish I'd grown up in a missionary family. I would say that it was probably one of the, or no, it was most definitely the worst thing that happened to my family. Nearly every single issue that we have today is connected to when we lived in South America. While I have loads of stories and experiences about living in Brazil specifically. We lived in a city called Manaus. It's also the focal point of a lot of issues that my family has. So, yeah, it's one of those things where it's oh man. Most people will be like, so cool that you got to do that. It's yeah. Kind of gave me PTSD though. I'm actually diagnosed with it. and so it's oh man. Yeah, so the reason why we lived there was because, and this was in the late 90s. The reason why we lived there is because my dad was a pharmacist, and he was going to be a pharmacist for a village called Santo Antonio. And Brazil's kind of notorious for changing its laws every 15 minutes, I guess. At least back then they were. And they had a law where a hospital could be shut down. I could be wrong about this, but this is basically what I was told. The hospitals could be shut down if they don't have a pharmacist on staff, which is why my dad was going to be the pharmacist at that village. We spent 2 years traveling around to collect money and funding and all that. By that point in getting to South America, somewhere in that transit of time, in that passage of time, the law changed to where that was no longer a thing. I guess, like, a lot of hospitals were going to get shut down because they couldn't afford to get a pharmacist. So yeah. But we were like, well, we've already spent 2 years devoted to doing this, so we're still gonna go. So we go down there, come to find out that we can't even stay at the village that we were supposed to be at because something grows there that made me and my mom super sick. So essentially all we could do was be at that village for maybe a week. So what we end up doing is we lived in Manaus, which is upriver from the village. And we just go down to that village once or twice a year, mainly for missionary meetings and stuff. So yeah, that's how that turned out being. I remember we would take speedboat rides to the village, which would take about 7 hours. And as an 8, 9, 10-year-old, 7 hours of being on a speedboat is practically an eternity. Like, dear God, so boring, so difficult to relax, because if you looked over the side of the boat, it's literally like an inch. The water is an inch away from getting in the boat at all times. So that's concerning. And then it's really loud because it's not like an enclosed thing. So it's super loud and nothing going on. So yeah, I absolutely hated going down there. But then we would take what we called a slow boat back up river to Manaus, which would take 3 days. But I thought being on those boats was so cool. Again, as a little kid, you're being on a boat that's 2 stories, sometimes 3 stories tall. And you can actually walk around on the boat. You can lay all day in a hammock. You can actually like do things. And it was just so cool. And then like sometimes you can eat on them. Though my parents only let us do that once or twice. And then after that, not anymore. I don't know why. They said it was like because like we could get sick from the food. Like, but we eat this food, and it's delicious. What are you talking about? But no, they wouldn't let us. So we would have to eat snacks and stuff that they brought. And then, one time. So 2 interesting things have happened. No, 3 interesting things have happened while being on those slow boats. One, back then my brother had really, really, really bad like sleepwalking tendencies. Which, kind of gave my mom anxiety, understandably. One time she woke up in the middle of the night and she gets out of the hammock, walks around and finds my brother asleep, but walking out on the boat in the middle of the night, which means that he could have just gone over the rail and nobody would have known at all. So that was an interesting thing. My mom basically had to put him in the hammock and then would have to tie the hammock shut, locking him in the hammock essentially. So that was fun. Another time, I think it was like a separate trip. My mom got woken up to a rifle being pointed at her face because it was like I guess the equivalent of like board of like uh actually I don't know what a good equivalent. It was basically the river police. And they were checking all boats traveling to see, because there was like a really bad smuggling ring for turtles, which for us is like, what? But I mean, we're in the middle of the rainforest. There's money to be made in a lot of things. So, but illegal turtle smuggling. And yeah, so they were checking the boat for that. I slept through that entire thing. And then probably the most interesting thing that happened was that one time we were just going up the river, everything was fine, and then what kind of turtles? I don't know. I'm a little kid. I was asleep. I have no idea. Probably the cool kind. Probably the ones that like are made out of cocaine or something. I don't know. But yeah, so we're going up the river, and then suddenly, essentially, the engine to the boat blew up. Like almost exploded, blew up. I guess it was apparently really bad. So all I can remember is my parents saying that something happened to the boat and that we were just kind of floating on the river going towards the riverbank. And like as we're doing that, a storm comes through, and rainforest storms are no joke. Like most Brazilians don't even want to be outside when it's raining, and for good reason, because you can be pummeled to death by raindrops, essentially. Like that's only a slight exaggeration. But I can remember watching this teenage Brazilian boy jump out of the boat with a big old rope, and he went over and checked a bunch of trees, and then tied the rope around a tree so that the boat couldn't float away, because again, we're on a river. And then they spent like pretty much the entire day fixing the engine, and we're bored, so we decided, along with everyone else, to just fish off the side of the boat. And we were fishing off the bottom floor of the boat, which was just a few inches away from the water. And I just remember that being like one of the coolest things ever as a kid. They smuggle parrots from my mother's home country. Sad because it's their national bird. Oh, well. Just no respect for anything. I should probably work on this. Well, yeah, I have some pretty, I would say, interesting stories about life in Brazil. Main problem for me, though, was that, so I have auditory processing disorder, which makes it extremely difficult, if not practically impossible, at least for me, to learn another language, because I struggle enough with English. Plus, I'm dyslexic and I have ADHD, so like trying to deal with this brain and translating shit does not go well. So yeah, I don't know. I know extremely little Portuguese. And so I couldn't talk to anybody while we were living there, and we lived there for 3 years. So very isolated, for sure. My sister had to deal with a whole lot because, you know, it's not safe for a white blonde teenage girl to be going around in a big city. So she was always on edge. And then my brother was the only one not affected, really, because he's just not all there. And he was like the cool kid because he was super tall, and you could hit him with a 2x4 and he wouldn't feel it. I've been making some pretty good progress on The Meaning of Death, that novella. So I'm pretty excited about that finishing. Though it's going to take longer than I expected. Like, I'm only halfway through the first revision. By halfway through, I mean page-wise. I still have, like, another 8 pages to go through. Which, how much is that? A lot, actually. Because so far with the first 8 pages, I'm at almost 16,000 words. So, yeah, definitely on track of being at over 20,000 words. And because I also need to add a few more scenes and stuff like that. So that's fun. But the ugh, God. Suddenly I'm super tired. Oh, it's probably just my body trying to sabotage me. You know, like bodies do. But yeah, so short novella. The reason why there's so many words and so few pages is because I'm working with single space with an extra space for paragraphs, because that makes it easier for me to read. So I'm going to do that for my readers. So yeah, I'm doing that, but so it's single spaced at like 8 point. I think that's the term. 8-point font, so very small font. So all the pages have a lot of text on. I mainly am doing that so that I can more quickly go up and down the pages. Trying to figure out a process to which I can do my writing in a kind of organized manner, so that, like, say I'm working on a certain scene and then I realize, oh man, I need to make some changes to like this other scene, I can just go straight to that without having to go like, okay, where the hell is it? I don't know where anything is. Ah, crap. Nice seeing you as someone with ADHD but still writing. That's awesome. Thank you. So there is an asterisk with that, because I've never been like professionally diagnosed. But like every single person that I know who has it, they're like, yeah, you definitely have it. So it was kind of the same thing with like my other issues, like anxiety and stuff like that, I have been actually diagnosed with those. But I had to like have a caveat with those, like I've not been diagnosed like by a professional, but it's kind of obvious. So I can't say I'm diagnosed ADHD, but like kind of along the same lines of until my current doctor, I had not been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, but since everybody in my family who has it has the exact same issues I do, kind of just went with that until my current doctor, who was like, yeah, we're gonna treat you for that. So, which is nice. But yeah, one of the things that I've been dealing with lately is like on TikTok. One, I'm mad at TikTok right now because it's treating me like I'm shadow banned, except with one video which got a couple hundred views. But then all other videos that I've posted recently, like only one of them has more than 10 views. I think 2 of them have 0 views still, and it's been days since my last upload. So I kind of feel like I'm just shadow banned on there for some reason. I don't know why. Because even when I first started posting on there, I would at least get like several dozens, if not 100 views within the first 48 hours. So I don't know what's going on with that. Kind of dumb. But the other thing that has been annoying me with TikTok is that I got onto, like, I guess writer talk or book talk or something. I hate TikTok. I refuse to download that spyware. At this point, every single program is spyware. So I just deal with that. Of course, I got TikTok. Did I get it during COVID, or I think I got it right before COVID? I can't remember. But yeah, I got it just so that I had another place to share my art and stuff. And it was going pretty good until I got way too busy with like getting an actual job and stuff to continue posting on there. But yeah, I've been out on like book talk or writer talk or whatever you want to call it, and I understand that a lot of things that the people say on there can be legitimate, but there's been somewhere it's like, here's some mistakes that you're making as a new writer, and then they list off basically everything I do, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. I did not agree to be called out this way because I can't help it. Like, I don't read much. Like, I don't read that many books. I read excerpts and I read tidbits and stuff like that. But I struggle a lot with reading in general. Like, apparently, I did not know this until a few years ago. The speed of which someone reads in their head is supposed to be faster than the rate of which they talk. I did not know that. I thought everybody read at the same rate that they talk. So that explains why I read a lot slower than most people. But again, being dyslexic, and I know I'm dyslexic, even though that's technically another thing I've not been fully diagnosed with, but when the words literally flip around and shit, I don't know what else you'd call that. Yet another thing about TikTok is so many people get on there and ramble on foolishness. Yeah, I try to curate. There we go. My feed by having it just be about animals, dad jokes, and just like silly skits and stuff. Sure, the rest of the internet's like that, but it's worse in short form content. Yeah, I can see that. Mainly because it's just so much easier to do it in short form content. So yeah, I don't see flaws in that logic. There it is. Let's fix this a little bit so that I can actually see things. But yeah, mostly what I always post on TikTok have been time lapses, which trying to figure out ways to make it more interesting than most people's time lapses is hard because I've already put in so much work on the drawing itself. I don't have the wherewithal with the thinky thoughts to make them more interesting. Besides doing a thing where I have my head pop in and do some commentary. Other than that, like, I keep saying to myself, oh, I'm going to do a commentary where I talk about the piece and stuff like that. And then I go start talking, so start recording. And then I said, I'll go, it's good. I had a thought, but the thing passed, so So I'm doomed to make shitty content. Is what I'm saying. I can make some cool drawings. That's as far as that goes. Maybe some animations once I get to actually being efficient in that. There's a little too much going on there. There we go. Where do I put you in a separate layer? That's better. What is this blue part? Is that supposed to be like water? There's like this blue bit that kind of goes like this. Is that supposed to be water, or is that more dirt? But it's far away, so it's got that haze. I don't know. It's weird. Also, Michael, I know you draw naked people and stuff. Why do pee-pee look like that, though? Why does it look like somebody took an axe to it? Horrifically. What the hell? I'm gonna dip, but it's been nice. Alright, Jess. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you hanging out and chit-chatting. I always do. I've just been watching way too much YouTube today. Impossible. I don't see how that could be a thing. Emma, just because I'm terminally online. But okay. Yeah, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for the New Vegas stream. But if not, have a good week. And I'll see you next time. They like small pee-pee back then. Okay, bye for real. So, a question I keep having is, do I make this a lined piece, or do I make it a painting? If I make it a painting, I'm gonna hate myself more than usual. But I've also not done a painting for a hot minute. What was the last painting? I think it was well, it might have been in December. Let's see. Oh yeah, I also need to get back into doing pixel art, and I need to get back into doing some more animations. Oh, how do I schedule my life? How? How do you do this? How do people do so many things? Oh my god, kid. Calm the fuck down. That is 3. 3! Oh, and TikTok feeling, or not TikTok, Twitch feeling a bit outdone by Kick. We got another one over here. Best viewers on whatever thing is, remove the space. How about no? How about I remove you? Bye-bye. Oh, boy. Okay, I'm going to hop over onto here and get rid of those because I'm not interested. I will never be interested because I don't have money. And even if I did, go away. Just go. Shoo. Shoo, shoo. Off you go. Why? I don't know why the windowed version of my browser was extremely tall. Okay. That's taken care of. Let's go ahead and minimize that. Get that out of the way. Oof. Oof. Yeah, I guess the last time I did like a painting was December, November time. So, yeah. I mean, I have done, I think, 2 red art pieces, which my red art series is just kind of personal pieces that are definitely along this in the genre of horror, but it's like the best way for me to actually express what's in my head, because that's all that's in my head is scary stuff. Scary stuff. There's a reason why I was never a linguiniest. But yeah. I'm gonna let me look at this again. Where I can't find shit. So I could base like the robe or outfit that God has on, like strictly off of the painting. I don't know. It looks kind of there's a lot of things that look kind of weird in this. I don't know if it's just like I'm so used to things looking a certain way, or it's a stylistic choice, like specifically. But like the way the bodies look and stuff just looks kind of weird to me. But I've also kind of given up on studying realism, so that might be it. Most likely it. Highly doubt it's an actual like Michael just doesn't know how to draw. What an idiot. I'm going to look up real quick. Let's actually do it through here. Also, one thing that I'm wanting to start doing on the streams is to cut out a section where we look at art and stuff. Probably we'll be going on to like pixel art, because that's the main place that I do art stuff on now. Or I might make another like straw page thing for people to send links or whatever, or something, so that people can submit drawings and I can look at them, because I like looking at art. Looking at art's fun. And if they want to, I can do some critiques on it. Am I a master artist? Sure. Yeah, of course. Why would you ask? I know what I'm talking about. Shut up. I can't stop yawning! Ugh. I'm falling apart. Oh my gosh, or my noshers. That just makes me think of, like, back in my day, we had Ermagerd, which is, like, still one of my favorite memes of all time. Itchy. But yeah, so what have you been doing, Chugger? Just been chilling, enjoying the stream, or been a productive member of society? What's going on? I don't have the means to be a stalker, so I need to do it vicariously through the person. Does that sound weird? Probably. Not a single thing still cooking on this contest entry. I'm doing way too much, though. I'm making an entire mini manga thing. Oh! I might be cooked. So when you say you're cooking, are you in the pot? Is that what you're saying? I'm cooking myself. It took me a while to actually understand the whole cook slang, because I like things to be consistent, and to be cooked and to cook are opposite things. And it threw me off really bad. Yes, most likely. Yeah, I know how that is. Let's see. All right. I think my sister's stirring the pot. Oh no! Shoot Phoebe to our cat. Oh no! We need to make a folder. Oh, with this crap right now, put you lower the opacity so that we can refine the sketch. Okay, you. What? Okay, you can Cybo now me. How dare I'm what? I'm so lost. I had two things happen. Was trying to read when something popped up, and now I'm confused. Which I mean, like stated before, not difficult to do. Had a more interesting thing. Comment, chat, I guess. Pop up on Kick. And I was like, oh, this might be a real person. And then I got to the end of it, like, oh, never mind. Not so much. I still don't know what a Saibao is, unless that's a misspelling. Remember, I'm an old man. I don't know. I don't understand you kids with your loud music and hula hoops and everything. Okay. Apparently all of you are chefs now. Oh, shut your bitch ass up. Okay. I know way too many words. So that would like when people use abbreviations like that, I get super lost because I never know what exactly you're trying to say with that. And then, like, at first I was like, is that the name of a VTuber? Oh, God, I'm old. I saw a video from 2015. That's a decade ago. I'm old enough to where things happened 2 decades ago. I'm old enough to where things happened nearly 3 decades ago, and I can remember them. I'm old enough to where I should be dead. Help. Hello! How is you? So I'm working on a piece that I'm calling The Execution of God, because it's a play on the. So I'm remaking the creation of Adam, but I'm doing it with my character Major Phee. where she's threatening God because that's what she do. And so yeah, um, I enjoy doing stuff like this. Not necessarily heretical things, although that is fun too. More of I like taking things and remixing them with a different, like with a twist and stuff with a twist. And so yeah, that's what we're working on, and I'm probably gonna be working on this for quite a while. And by that I don't mean like quite a while today. I mean in my life. But yeah, what are you up to? How has your day been? What's going on with your life? Sleeping? Oh, I'm jealous. I don't get to sleep much. Oh my god, last night, I don't know what the hell was going on. I was in so much pain. And that was after taking painkillers, which for me is naproxen, which is Aleve. Yeah, Aleve, because Advil is ibuprofen, basically. But like all of my joints, for some reason, were like exploding. It felt like I don't know what was going on. I'm sitting there going, I'm not gonna sleep tonight, and then I passed out like 20 minutes later. Don't know. I guess I just got used to it, or the pain went away. I don't know really. But holy crap, did that scare me? I was like, oh my god, I don't need this. I don't need you being a bitch. God, you've got a lot of hair on your face. No, so this is the famous, like, Sistine Chapel painting by Michelangelo. And it's called The Creation of Adam, where it's God and Adam's fingers about to touch and make kissing noises. And stuff, and I'm doing a play on that where it's my character Phee pointing a gun at God because that's what she would do, and I was very amused by that idea. So here we are. So yeah, this is actually supposed to be God or Yahweh. I was gonna be like, maybe I should like try to paint it to make it look really close to that, or I could just shoot myself, and that would give me as much joy. Like, what was I thinking? That would be a nightmare to try to replicate. I'm just way better off just doing it like this. God has blue in his hair. It's probably the best way for the paint to get gray. Because, like, it's almost like that. Blue. Yeah, I would show the original painting on here, but bad things would happen because since it's a Renaissance painting, there's little cherubs everywhere, and a butt. There's a butt, which I'm gonna have to censor when I get to that point with this drawing. Which I enjoy doing my censors, so that's not gonna be a problem. What type of drawing tablet do you use? I have a XP pen. 24 Artist Pro? I think that's what. Now I gotta look it up. I can't remember. I have the memory of a turnip. Hold on. To the website. Products. Just show me the products. Where you at? So it's the Artist 24. But it's the 2K version. So, you know, it's all about the basketball and the sports and stuff like that. Yeah, because it's like 2K resolution and all that stuff. I got it on sale for like after tax and everything. It was like less than $600. Yeah. Which I was super happy about, because up till December, which is when I got this tablet, I had only been using Wacom. And Wacom makes some great products. They're insanely expensive, though. So, if you're wanting to get a tablet, don't get a Wacom. Specifically a Cintiq or drawing like a screen tablet. Because they're insanely expensive. And Huion and XP Pen make just about as good a quality of products as Wacom does. They're just not insanely expensive. So that's why I got XP Pen this time. Because for like 15 years, I was just Wacom. Because I didn't know, really. And then when I was hearing about these other companies, I was like, I don't know if I trust those because I've never heard of them before. And that they might be new, and I don't want to go with something new if I can just trust Wacom. Come to find out, they're not new, really. They've actually been around for a hot minute. So, oops. Make this darker just so I can see it. And that's fine. It's got a little thin mustache right here, like around there. It's kind of weird looking. And then suddenly, like, beard comes out like that. But yeah, I really like this tablet a lot. It's the size of a frickin' table because it's 2 feet, like diagonal or whatever dimension they do that. Because it's nearly 24 inches, like really close to 24 inches. The last tablet I had was 13 inches, so bit of an upgrade size-wise. Took me a bit to get used to drawing, because I hadn't drawn on a drawing tablet that big since college. So, like 2013. So that took some getting used to. so his beard kind of just looks like that. That's kind of how I draw hair. Swirly swirls. Swirly swirly swirl. Really, just letting that brush do that work with the texture. Which is back in my day, digital art was always under fire of not being considered like real art. Which I know today people try to do the same argument with AI art. It's like, nah, that's very different. Like, you're literally doing the thing that digital artists were accused of doing. The computer making the art for you. Very different things. Like, I even did a research paper on that. I don't know if I should get a drawing tablet. All I have right now to draw is a cracked regular tablet from 2010, but I'm saving up for one. I'll check out the one you have. It seems great. So before you do that, you need to ask yourself a few questions. Do you want a tablet to where you can be mobile with, so you can go around and still draw and stuff? Or do you want a tablet where you specifically have a station where you work at, like your computer setup or desktop or something like that? Because that's a huge factor with it. I did way back in the day. I did where I had a drawing tablet that was bar big, and so I think it was like 15-16 inches. So at the time that was like enormous. But I had that, and it's specifically designed to be worked on, like you work on it at a desk and stuff like that. Well, I didn't have one. I didn't have a setup like that. I had it connected to, I would hook it up to my laptop. And so then I had to also go and get a big old briefcase to carry my laptop and my drawing tablet with all the cords and everything, because back then they didn't have it set up to where like everything gets put into one cord or something like that, and then kind of splits off to where it needs to be. Everything was a separate cord. So like the connecting to the computer, there was a cord for that. Connecting the program stuff so that this worked, also a separate cord. And then also separate from all that was a power cord. And it was one of those ones that had like a huge brick with the wire going through it. Like, all the wires were super thick and everything, so it was like a mess. But yeah, that's what I did. And I would go to school, I would go to college, and when I got to work on my stuff on my laptop, I would set up a chair to hold the laptop, and then I would have my tablet on my lap, and I would be next to an outlet and have everything all hooked up, and then I was good to go. Which looked so ridiculous that my teacher even was like, wow, he's got a whole setup right there. Because nobody else was really doing anything like that. They were strictly using like the Cintiqs at the school and stuff like that. It's like, I would love to use those, but one, I really wanted to use my tablet. Also, that way everything went straight to my laptop and I didn't have to do any kind of like put on a thumb drive and deal with all that crap. But yeah. So yeah, you're definitely going to want to consider something like that. You're going to want to consider, do you really want to have a tablet that is really high resolution? Or is it fine for you to deal with one that is at just full HD? So like the 1080p. Because that can still be functional for you. I mean, this is the first one I've ever had to where it was more than that. So it's not necessary, but it can be helpful, but it's not necessary. Also make sure that you have a computer that can handle that kind of power requirement. Not like, because it plugs into its own power outlet, so not that, but it can be quite demanding if you don't have a computer that is up to snuff for it. So I definitely look into that as well. But other than that stuff, you don't need to have a big tablet. I only went with the big tablet because it was like, I have the setup to where I can do it. And it's been a while since I've had a big tablet. Of course, I also didn't realize how big 2 feet can be. Because I cannot visualize measurements. I don't know why, but I practically can't do it. So if you tell me like something is 4 feet long, I am like, I have no idea how long that is. I'll think about it. Thank you for telling me. Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm here for, is to relay information to those who may not have it. Because when I was younger, I wish I had somebody who actually told me stuff. So if I have that information that could be helpful for you, I will definitely relay. Which is why I like to do lessons and stuff during my streams. Because I just want you guys to have your artistic path be as smooth and less treacherous as possible. I got to have some stuff like that. Not a whole lot, because of the day and age of when I was getting into digital art and all that. But there are some people that have made huge changes, huge influences on my life, artistically and otherwise. So I try to be one of those people. So yeah, if you have any questions, whether it's about me, about art, about Major Phee, I know there's not much to see of Major Phee, but she is my obsession right now. So I feel like it's really difficult for me to express just how much lore I have for Phee and like the universe that she's in. It's ridiculous. I've never developed this much lore for a character / universe before, and I've done some really extensive world building. Like, I have a pantheon, and how the pantheon functions and stuff. It's not as deep as what I've got for Necropole. Like, I don't know what it is about Phee, but she is the light of my life. And this year has been so much better because of her. So yeah, if you got any questions, that's what I'm here for. I think this actually needs to go up here. The military that she works for, how does the other soldiers view her? So, Phee is part of a special class in Necropole called the Extremorte. Extremortes are immortals. So they're a well-known, established thing in Necropole, to the point to where like they're considered essentially saints. So Phee is a very peculiar Extremorte, which I have to say, I am extremely proud of myself of coming up with that word Extremorte. I love the way it sounds. And I don't like a lot of the words that I've come up with, but that one just like, check this. Extremortes tend to almost automatically get a following of sorts. Phee has one of the smallest followings in the Empire, but in like these strictly. So that there are things called triangles. It's the three different categories of which the Empire is comprised of. The Morte one is essentially the frontline military one, like strictly military type of stuff. Because then there's like the Enginari and the Legentia triangles. But the Mortai one is the one that's strictly like they have the guns and the tanks and everything, and they use them. So in that section of it, she's actually quite popular. But that's because she is one of 5 Extremortes out of 127. I think 127. I'll have to look at that again. Of 127 Extremortes, because an Extremorte is extremely rare. But yeah, so the soldiers, a lot of them really like her because she's one, she's giving more legitimacy to the military part, even though the military part is supposed to be the most important one because they're all about killing things. But a lot of people try to get into the other triangles. And so the fact that there's another Extremorte in it is great. Her being an officer is also great. Because that means that like it's far less likely that they're going to lose wars and stuff. Because Extremortes are like above normal Necrus when it comes to all sorts of aspects. So, but the thing is that she would be liked a whole lot more if she wasn't an extremist zealot. So, which is really saying something from a culture of extremist zealots. So she's got the smallest following out of all the Extremortes. She's well respected amongst soldiers, like strictly soldiers. She is respected by a lot of officers, but pretty much anybody who is outside of the Morte Triangle, not much of a fan of her. Especially those in the political sphere. Because she is, while she's very successful with her missions, she also like wins them at an extremely high cost. But she also tends to do the missions that are considered impossible. So it's like, well, I mean, there's a bit of this, bit of that type of stuff going on. Um, but her worldviews make her not so popular amongst most Nekrus. Um, because it's the thing that makes her like really extreme, but also like it's some people consider her a heretic, essentially. But the fact that she's an extra and that it's not too far off with her ideals from what the actual religious text says. Pretty much, people just have to be like, I don't like her. But considering that the population of Necropole across the entire empire is like over 4 quadrillion. Even with a small following, she still has billions of followers. So it's not like she's ever hurting for more soldiers or anything like that. But yeah, so it's kind of a mixed bag, basically, with how soldiers and the military look at her. But it's more favorable than the rest of the empire. Hopefully that answered that question. I know it's extremely rambly. What happened to the people that oh, what happened to the people that showed off the light while she was in the elevator? Well, what I would imagine is essentially it was them cutting off power. But they didn't cut off power soon enough. So she was still able to get out. And then she just single-handedly slaughtered everybody in there. I would imagine that it was like a high-ranking / like almost royalty level type people that were hiding in that bunker type of thing, and she was just like casually making her way downtown, walking fast, kicking ass in a hoedown. Oh yeah, they all died. Some very quickly, some not so quickly. Is she chaotic good, chaotic neutral, or chaotic evil? Well, I wouldn't say she's chaotic evil. Actually, she's not chaotic at all. She is lawful evil, is what she would be. Because she follows by strict rules. Because she's extremely loyal to her empire and to her religion and everything. So she's a lawful evil because she does terrible things, but she follows the laws of her empire and the laws of her religion, which the laws of the religion basically are the laws of the empire. But basically she's like more obedient. So yeah, she would be a lawful evil. She's considered good in the culture that she's in, for the most part. Evil to everyone else, though. It's like, oh, 3 messages. Nope, that's a wrong website. Hold on. What is this? Okay. When did I start drawing? So, I mean, I am one of those, like, I've been drawing. I drew when I was a little kid. But then I didn't draw for several years because I was told that it was making Jesus upset. I'm not exaggerating or anything. I was literally told that. So I got back into drawing when I was about 10, and I didn't stop. So I've been going for 25 years now. Close, almost 25 years. I was drawing a lot when I was 10, and then I got really into drawing and learning how to become a better drawer and everything. I wanted to make comics and stuff. I've made comics. Never got published because I was in high school, but I've made a bunch of comics and stuff. And I've made webcomics, and they're a lot of fun. But yeah. So about 2000, 2001 is when I started drawing, essentially. Trying to catch my breath. Talking a lot more than I usually do. There's not saying anything about the questions. It's just that I've been actually talking for the vast majority of the stream. I've not been getting a lot done. Because I can't do 2 things at once. I cannot chew bubblegum and walk at the same time. Help. Help. No, keep asking questions if you want to ask questions. I thoroughly enjoy it. What does the religion / government in your universe worship besides the immortals? So technically they don't worship the immortals in the same sense that you worship like deities or something like that. They're treated, like I said, they treat them more like saints. So kind of like in the Catholic term. And the reason why is because they worship death. Basically, it's a massive death cult is what necropole is. And essentially what they believe is that the entire universe is connected by a single energy. So kind of like the Force from Star Wars. But it's all living things in the universe are connected. And when you die, your soul leaves your body and connects back with what's called the ether. And so then essentially you become one with the universe, essentially. And so since they worship the ether, and in their religious texts, the main way to connect with the ether is to die, they focus a lot of their culture around death. So they would have rituals like once a generation, essentially. So once every decade or so. They would go to this one location and they would have this 24-hour battle and just slaughter each other. And then after the 24-hour period, or however long it is, I say 24 so that we all can kind of understand it. They immediately stop fighting. They gather up all their dead, and since they're fighting next to a massive hole in the ground, it's called the Well Away. And they just throw the bodies in there after doing their death rites, which their death rites basically is like a recording of their actions in the fight, as well as like their lives and stuff. Write all that down, go back to their culture, their kingdoms, have massive festivals and stuff to celebrate it, and then go on with their lives. So yeah, basically they worship death because death is what connects you with the ether. Phee still believes that, but she also has an understanding with the religious text that it's not just death. That essentially her belief is that the way you live your life affects what your death is. And not like how you die, but like the meaning of your death. And there's a lot more to it, but that's basically it in a nutshell. So, because her beliefs do not fall firmly on death is all that matters, she's considered a heretic by some people, or just weird by most. Because they find it weird that she puts a lot of focus on how you live your life, essentially. And one of the things that is important with how you live your life is how many people do you slaughter? Because the necropole has what's called an ultima morte, which is essentially their word for a crusade against the universe, where their entire goal is to wipe out all life in the universe. Because that's what feeds into the ether, and if they do it, that means that they won't be disconnected from the ether in any way, and that their deaths would have more meaning. And so then when they die, they go to the ether, and it's like feeding the ether a better quality thing. It's essentially like their religion in a nutshell. So the reason why the Ex Morte are considered saints is because it's believed that the reason why that they get to live essentially forever is that their souls are sent back by the ether to continue the work of the ether, essentially. To Phee, that wasn't what it seemed like when she first died. She felt more like she was rejected by the ether. And if you want to know more about that particular thing, there should be a link in the description to a short story. Either there's a direct link or it's going to be in the link tree. But there's a short story I wrote about Fee's very first death and how how that went went for her. And it's if you like sci-fi stories, a sci-fi short story about somebody basically having their entire reality shattered, and everything seems lost for them. They've lost all purpose, but there's a flicker of hope at the end. I highly recommend reading it. There's a lot more lore of Necropoli put into there as well, and I'm really proud of how it's turning out. I'm currently working on a sequel to it that's turning into a novella. Was intended as a short story, but it just more words kept showing up. So I highly recommend go reading that and sharing it around and stuff. I'm very proud of how it turned out, and I'm super excited about the novella coming out. Still working on the first revision. I have a maximum of 3 more revisions that I'm going to let myself do before I post it. And then I have a follow-up after that of essentially her becoming the major Phee that we all know and love. So like the first short story is about her reaching like her lowest point and losing all meaning and all hope. The novella is about her finding meaning within the thing that she actually thought she lost meaning in. Essentially, it's about when you hit rock bottom, you can still climb out. And just because your entire, everything you thought you believed in was not what you thought it was, does not mean that you can't make something out of it. It's loosely based off of stuff with my life. So very rough time period I've gone through when it came to stuff like that, and so that has a pretty big influence on the story. And then the follow-up to the novella is going to be about being steadfast in your beliefs even against impossible odds, is basically what that one's going to be about. So I'm excited to get all that stuff done, because then I'm going to put it all together, do some more tweaking and stuff with it, and then I'm actually going to publish it as a physical book. So I'm excited. Yeah, it's on Wattpad, and Wattpad says that it's about a 29 minute read. So I don't know what that basis is. It's definitely not based off of how fast I read. But I'm just going to assume that means that it's not too much of a read. Okay, cool. You'll have to let me know what you think. Maybe leave a comment on it if you don't finish it before you gotta leave. I love me some comments. Old man looks nervous. Arms weak, legs getting nervous. Finally found out where that meme comes from, and I did not realize it was Markiplier and Crank Games. They're Anus Unus, Anal Onu, I don't know. Can't remember what it was called. The one thing that they did for a bit that has some really great clips from. You know what? That face don't look too bad. Pleasantly surprised. You need to have more faith in your drawing ability. Yeah, but I make mistakes all the time, so it's okay to understand that. Yeah, I can screw up sometimes. Okay, I'll have to see you later, but I have read the first paragraph. I love how you write, especially how you describe things. I'll read the rest later. See ya. Okay, well, I appreciate that. I truly do. And yeah, just make sure you are following me on here with the bells, with your bells on. And then also follow me on Wattpad if you can, because then you can know when I post things. And then, you know, there's all the other links and stuff. So do all those things. And also send me pizza, because I'd like that. But yeah, so with all that, we'll see you next time. Hopefully tomorrow. We are going to be streaming tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, and going to be playing Fallout New Vegas. Continuing that weird build that we're doing. Should be fun. But yeah. I'm actually thinking of ending it here. I know I didn't get much done. But I talked a lot, and it's hard for me to draw while talking. It's not the same as it is with gaming. Like, you can, as long as you're not in like an intense situation, you can game and talk pretty easily. But drawing, like, you're using more of your brain when you're drawing. So, but I'm liking how his face is looking. I was a little nervous about that. But yeah, so all looking pretty good. Yeah, I forgot to do the thing I wanted to do at the beginning of the stream. Oh well. I'll try to remember to do it tomorrow. But yeah, so like I said, stream tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Gaming stream. Might start doing streams on Mondays and Fridays this next week. Possibly. I'll make my decision tomorrow. And I'll say it on the stream, and I'll make a post on YouTube and my socials, stuff like that. But yeah, so don't really have anything else to talk about, so we will just go ahead and end it. Stop talking, frickin' go. I will see you guys tomorrow.